Hey guys, this is FixerMed. Welcome back to my high yield immunology review series for the USMLE Step 1, NBME CBSE, and NBME CAS examinations. This will be part 13 of my multi-part video series covering the entire discipline of immunology in a comprehensive but high yield manner. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on today's content. So today I'd mainly like to talk about the key cell surface markers. So starting off with CD1A, this is the marker for Langerhans cell histiocytosis. CD3 is a generic T cell marker associated with T cell receptor, binds to target cell major histocompatibility complex. CD4 is the marker for T helper cells. This binds to major histocompatibility complex class 2, known as MHC2, on antigen presenting cells. CD5 plus CD23 is seen in chronic lymphocytic leukemia. CD8 is the marker for cytotoxic T cells. This binds to major histocompatibility complex class 1 molecules. CD10 is associated with acute lymphoblastic leukemia, also known as ALL. Moving on. CD14 is found on macrophages associated with toll-like receptor 4. CD15 plus CD30 is seen on Reed-Sternberg cells in Hodgkin disease. CD16 and CD56 is found on natural killer cells. CD18 is a subunit of lymphocyte function-associated antigen 1, LFA1 integrin deficiency causing leukocyte adhesion deficiency. CD19 plus CD20 are for specific B cell markers targeted by rituximab. CD21 is a receptor for Epstein-Barr virus entrance into B cells. Moving on. Next, I'd like to talk about CD25. This is the marker for regulatory T cells, also known as Treg. CD28 is found on T cell, which binds to CD80 and CD86 on antigen presenting cells. CD34 is ubiquitous on hematopoietic stem cells. CD40 is found on macrophages and B cells involved in isotype class switching and B cell differentiation. CD55 and CD59 are deficient in peroxisomal nocturnal hemoglobinuria. CD80 and CD86 are also known as B71 and B72, bind to CD28 on T cells for secondary signal. Let's go ahead and move on to look at some questions. A patient presents with symptoms suggestive of a hematologic disorder. Laboratory investigations reveal an abnormal proliferation of lymphocytes. Further analysis of cell surface markers indicates the presence of CD5 and CD23. Which of the following conditions is most likely associated with this cell surface marker profile? Give you guys a few seconds to think this through. All right, I think I gave you guys enough time here. Pretty first order question. If you need more time, please feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, moving on now. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL, is characterized by an abnormal proliferation of mature B lymphocytes. CD5 and CD23 are typical markers seen in CLL. CD5 is a marker for T cells but is also expressed on B cells in CLL, while CD23 is a low affinity receptor for IgE and is also expressed on B cells in CLL. Therefore, the presence of CD5 and CD23 is consistent with the diagnosis of CLL. Therefore, the correct answer is B, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL. Let's go ahead and take a look at why the other answer choices are incorrect. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL, ALL is characterized by the proliferation of immature lymphoid cells, typically of B cell lineage. CD5 and CD23 expression is not typical in ALL. Hodgkin disease. Hodgkin disease is a lymphoid neoplasm characterized by Reed-Sternberg cells. While CD15 and CD30 are markers seen in Hodgkin disease, CD5 and CD23 are not characteristic markers. Langerhans cell histiocytosis. Langerhans cell histiocytosis typically presents with CD1A marker expression, not CD5 and CD23. Paroxysomal nocturnal hemoglobinuria, also known as PNH. PNH is a disorder of the hematopoietic stem cells characterized by the deficiency of CD55 and CD59, not CD5 and CD23. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. A 60-year-old male presents with bone pain, recurrent infections, and elevated serum calcium levels. Bone marrow biopsy reveals clonal plasma cells comprising more than 10% of the total cellularity. Flow cytometry analysis of these plasma cells show positivity for CD38 and CD138. Which of the following conditions is most likely associated with this immunophenotypic profile? Alright, I think I gave you guys enough time there. If you need more time, please feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, moving on now. Multiple myeloma is characterized by the clonal proliferation of plasma cells in the bone marrow. Immunophenotypic analysis of plasma cells typically reveals positivity for CD38 and CD138. Therefore, the immunophenotypic profile described in the question is consistent with the diagnosis of multiple myeloma. Therefore, correct answer is C, multiple myeloma. Let's go ahead and see why the other answer choices are incorrect. Chronic myeloid leukemia, CML. CML is characterized by the presence of Philadelphia chromosome in the BCR-ABL fusion gene, not CD38 and CD138 positivity. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia. ALL is characterized by the proliferation of immature lymphoid cells. CD38 and CD138 expression is not typical in ALL. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma is a heterogeneous group of lymphoid malignancies. While CD38 and CD138 expression can be seen in certain subtypes of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, the clonal proliferation of plasma cells is more characteristic of multiple myeloma. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL. CLL is characterized by the clonal proliferation of mature B lymphocytes. CD38 and CD138 expression is not typical in CLL. All right, now that we had that question done, let's go ahead and move on to the next question. A 55-year-old male presents with fatigue and easy bruising. Laboratory tests reveal pancytopenia with peripheral blood showing abnormal lymphocytes. Flow cytometry analysis of these lymphocytes reveal positivity for CD19 and CD20. Which of the following conditions is most likely associated with this cell surface marker profile? All right, I think I gave you guys enough time here. Let's go ahead and see what the correct answer is. If you need more time, please feel free to pause the video. Chronic lymphocytic leukemia is a lymphoproliferative disorder characterized by the clonal expansion of mature B lymphocytes. CD19 and CD20 are both B cell markers commonly expressed on CLL cells. Therefore, the presence of CD19 and CD20 positivity is consistent with the diagnosis of CLL. Correct answer is D, chronic lymphocytic leukemia, CLL. Let's go ahead and see why the other answer choices are incorrect. Chronic myeloid leukemia, CML, characterized by presence of Philadelphia chromosome and BCR-ABL fusion gene, not CD19 and CD20. Acute myeloid leukemia, AML, myeloid neoplasm characterized by proliferation of immature myeloid cells, CD19, CD20, not typical in AML. Hodgkin lymphoma. Hodgkin lymphoma is a lymphoid neoplasm characterized by the presence of Reed-Sternberg cells. CD15, CD30 are seen in Hodgkin lymphoma. CD19 and CD20 are not characteristic markers. Multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma is a neoplasm of plasma cells characterized by the production of monoclonal immunoglobulins. CD19 and CD20 are not typical in multiple myeloma. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. A 40-year-old female presents with generalized lymphadenopathy. Say that 3 times really fast. And B symptoms, including fever, night sweats, and weight loss. Biopsy of a lymph node reveals Reed-Sternberg cells surrounded by a mixed inflammatory infiltrate. Immunohistochemical staining shows positivity for CD15 and CD30. Which of the following conditions is most likely associated with this immunophenotypic profile? All right, I think I gave you guys enough time here. If you need more time, please feel free to pause the video. Otherwise, moving on now. Hodgkin lymphoma is characterized by the presence of Reed-Sternberg cells surrounded by a mixed inflammatory infiltrate. Immunohistochemical staining typically reveals positivity for CD15 and CD30, which are markers commonly expressed on Reed-Sternberg cells. Therefore, the immunophenotypic profile described in the question is consistent with the diagnosis of Hodgkin lymphoma. Correct answer is B, Hodgkin lymphoma. Let's see why the other answer choices are incorrect. Chronic myeloid leukemia, CML, characterized by the presence of the Philadelphia chromosome and the BCR-ABL fusion gene, not CD15 and CD30 positivity. Acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL, characterized by the proliferation of immature lymphoid cells. CD13 and CD30 expression is not typical in ALL. Multiple myeloma. Multiple myeloma is a neoplasm of plasma cells characterized by the production of monoclonal immunoglobulins. CD15 and CD30 expressions are not typical in multiple myeloma. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma is a heterogeneous group of lymphoid malignancies. While CD15 and CD30 expression can be seen in certain subtypes of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, the presence of Reed-Sternberg cells surrounded by a mixed inflammatory infiltrate is more characteristic of Hodgkin lymphoma. Guys, that will do it all for the content today. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to type them down in the comment section below. If not, I would appreciate it if you guys could leave a like and subscribe to this channel for more content like this. It really helps push the content out more. But that's all I have. This is FixerMed signing off. Be sure to have a great day, everyone, and good luck studying as always. Goodbye.